Internal Revenue Service IRS tax news. IRS families receiving monthly child tax credit payments can now update their direct deposit information. IR 2021-143, June 30th, 2021, Washington. The Internal Revenue Service today upgraded a key online tool to enable families to quickly and easily update their bank account information so they can receive their monthly child tax credit payment. So let me kind of recap this real quick here. We got the child tax credit has been updated for 2021, which normally you wouldn't get until you file the tax return by April 15th of 2022. But they made a prepayment portion of it so they can send it out in monthly payments throughout the year of 2021, which means you've got monthly checks now going out if you're eligible for the child tax credit. And you can imagine some kind of problems that could arise in those situations, such as what if you're moving around? What if the payment information that the IRS has is like an address or something like that, and you're moving, and now the checks are going to be going to a prior address, or you have an old bank account from your prior banking situation when you filed for a refund last year and now it's changed. So that's one problem. Before, all you could really do before this point was to basically opt in or out of the child tax credits. But now they're trying to adjust some more of those types of things, including this time now you're able to go in and adjust the banking information so that you can make sure that the payment hopefully is going to the correct bank account. Other changes they might have in the future, the other thing that you would think would be a problem would be that what if you had another child that was a dependent in 2021 that they wouldn't know about because it would have been on the prior tax return or would not have been on 2020. So we'll see if they kind of update that with the new tools as they're rolling this out. Also, there's a situation with the income limitations because obviously there's a cap on income that could result in a reduction in the credit. So you might have something that would tell the IRS what your income actually is in the instance that it could be limited due to the credits. So we'll see if they update those later, but they have this update now for the banking information. So the bank account update feature was added to the child tax credit update portal. There's a link to that portal here available only on IRS.gov. Any updates made by August 2nd will apply to the August 13 payment and all subsequent monthly payments for the rest of 2021. Families will receive their July 15th payment by direct deposit in the bank account currently on file with the IRS. Those who are not enrolled for the direct deposit will receive a check. The IRS encourages people without current bank account information to use the tool to update their information so they can get the payments sooner. The IRS also urges people to be on the lookout for scams related to the child tax credit. People who need to update their bank account information should go directly to the IRS.gov site and not click on links received by email, text, or phone. Obviously, the IRS is once again sending out checks here. Anytime the IRS is sending out checks, you're going to have scammers trying to scam. So don't listen to them and go directly to the IRS website if you have any questions, not clicking on any links from any emails or text messages from the nefarious scammer people. So how to update direct deposit information. First, families should use the Child Tax Credit Update portal to confirm their eligibility for the payments. So clearly it should be fairly straightforward, you would think, to see if you're qualified for the payments, meaning you have a dependent child under 17 or under generally, then you would think that you would qualify as long as you're not hitting the income cap. But you could take a look at the portal to kind of double check if you are indeed qualified for the payment. So if eligible, the tool will also indicate whether they are enrolled to receive their payment by direct deposit. So the tool will also tell you, apparently, if you're enrolled in that. And so then, if so, it will list the full bank routing number and the last 4 digits of their account number. This is the account that will receive their July 15th payment. And if they don't change the account, all future payments will go there as well. So it looks like the July 15th payment's locked into whatever that payment is, and you can change it, apparently, looks like, for future payments. Next, if they choose, they can change the bank account receiving the payment starting with August 13th payment. They can do that by updating the routing number and account number and indicating whether it is a saving or checking account. those numbers typically being on an actual check. So if you actually have a check related to your checking account, you got the bank account routing number and account number on it typically. Note that only one account number is permitted for each recipient. That is, the entire payment must be direct deposit in only one account. So if you were thinking about splitting it up for whatever reason, and I can think of various reasons why that people might try to do that, you can't do that. It's got to go to one account. How to switch from paper check to direct deposit. If the update portal shows that a family is eligible to receive payments but not enrolled to receive direct deposit, they will receive a check each month. If they want to switch to receiving their payments by direct deposit, they can use the tool to add their bank account information. They do that by entering their bank routing number and account number and indicating whether it is a savings or checking account. The IRS urges any family receiving checks to consider switching to direct deposit. With direct deposit, families can access their money more quickly. Direct deposit removes the time, worry, and expense of cashing check. So it is easier. It's also better for the IRS. Obviously, they want to do everything in a electric format if they can. In addition, direct deposit eliminates the chance of lost, stolen, or undelivered checks. Families can stop payment anytime. Even after payment begins, families can stop all future monthly payments if they choose. So you might say, hey, I don't want the monthly payments. Instead, I just want to calculate the credit when I file the tax return like I normally do, and by April 15th of 2022, although, of course, the credit has been changed and increased and more of it will be refundable. So even if you get the monthly payments, you should still get a credit or some portion of it when you file the tax return, because I believe they're increased the payment. They made more of it refundable, and then they basically cut it in half, I think. And then they took that and divided it by 6 so they can then send out these monthly checks. So you should still get a credit whether you get the monthly checks or not. But if for whatever reason you don't want the monthly checks and you just want to fill out the tax return like normal, you can opt out to do so. So they do that by using the Unenroll feature in the Child Tax Credit Update portal. Eligible families who make this choice will still receive the rest of the child tax credit as a lump sum when they file their 2020 federal income tax return next year. To stop all payments starting in August and the rest of 2021, they must unenroll by August 2nd, 2021. For more information about the unenrollment process, including a schedule of deadlines for each monthly payment, see Topic J of the Child Tax Credit FAQs, frequently asked questions. There's a link to that here. It's also on IRS.gov. Who should unenroll? Instead of receiving these advance payments, some families may prefer to wait until the end of the year and receive the entire credit as a refund when they file their 2021 return. The Child Tax Credit Update portal enables these families to quickly and easily do that. The Unenroll feature can also be helpful to any family that no longer qualifies for the child tax credit or believes they will not qualify when they file their 2021 return. So you might say, hey, my income, for example, might be a lot higher in 2021, and therefore I'm not going to qualify even though I qualified for 2020 because my income was a lot lower on that point. So I don't want the advance payment because I know I actually don't qualify for the credit based on the 2021 income. That would be a very legitimate reason to opt out of it. So this could happen if, for example, their income in 2021 is too high to qualify them for the credit. Someone else, an ex-spouse or another family member, for example, qualifies to claim their child or children as dependents in 2021. That's another common scenario because you might have a joint custody situation and you might have some kind of setup where basically one person or the other claims every other year the dependent or something like that. So if the IRS based the credit on the prior year tax return and the dependent is no longer there on the current tax return, then again, the credit would be wrong because they would have based it on the prior year tax return. You'd have to tell them, don't give me the payment, otherwise you're going to get the payment and then you might have to pay it back at the end of the years, and that wouldn't be good. Although I could totally imagine the IRS just waiving the need to do that. Not to say that you should take the credit if it's not due you or anything like that. You should opt out of the credit because you would think, unless they say otherwise, you would think that if they gave you a credit for that you didn't deserve or wouldn't be entitled to, given the fact that either the child wasn't yours or wasn't claimed on your return in 2021, even though it was in 2020, or because your income was higher in 2021, you would think that if you got the advance payment, you'd have to pay it back. because you wouldn't actually qualify it given the 2021 information. Okay, so their main home was outside the United States for more than half of 2021. So that would be another disqualifying situation. So what is the Child Tax Credit Update Portal? The Child Tax Credit Update Portal is a secure, password-protected tool available to any eligible family with internet access and a smartphone or computer. It is designed to enable them to manage their child tax credit accounts. Right now, this includes updating their bank account information with the IRS or unenrolling from monthly payments. Soon, it will allow people to check on the status of their payments. Later this year, the tool will also enable them to make other status updates and be available in Spanish. So it's a work in process. They're doing great things to this child tax credit portal page. So to access the Child Tax Credit Update Portal, a person must first verify their identity. If a person has an existing IRS username or an ID.me, there's a link to that here, account with a verified identity, they can use this account to easily sign in. People without an existing account will be asked to verify their identity with a form of photo identification using the ID.me, a trusted third party for the IRS. Identity verification is an important safeguard and will protect the user's account from identity theft. Anyone who lacks internet access or otherwise cannot use the online tool may unenroll by contacting the IRS at the phone number included in the outreach letter they received from the IRS. Who is getting a monthly payment? In general, monthly payments will go to eligible families who filed their 2019 or 2020 federal income tax return, used the Nonfiler tool on IRS.gov in 2020, or registered for the economic impact payment. This is either or, so it's a prepayment. In other words, that means it would be based on your prior year tax return because it's for 2021, which is not going to be filed till 2022. They have to base it then on 2020 taxes if they have it. If they don't, they'll fall back to 2019. If they don't have either of those, but you gave them the Nonfiler tool sign-up thing, they'll go to that, or registered for the advanced child tax credit using this year the Nonfiler tool thing as well. So an eligible family who took any of these steps does not need to do anything else to get their payments. So if you've got those things set up, if you did your taxes, or hopefully you did the Nonfiler tool thing, then they should have the information and the checks should be being sent out then. So normally the IRS will calculate the advance payment based on the 2020 income tax return. If that return is not available, either because it is not yet been filed or it has not yet been processed, the IRS is instead determining the payment using the 2019 tax return. Eligible families will receive advance payments either by direct deposit or check. Each payment will be up to $300 per month for each child under age 6 and up to $250 per month for each child ages 6 through 17. So again, you can think about this in aggregate or in monthly payment forms. We're currently in the monthly payment area, but in aggregate, you'll recall that last year I think it was $2,000 per person, $1,400 per child. That was refundable portion. They upped it now. They upped it in total. So if you didn't get the advance payments and you filed the tax return in 2022 for the year 2021, you would have an increased amount per child. There's also 2 tiers here for the 2 age brackets, up through 6 and then 6 through 17. And then they made it all refundable. And then I believe they took basically half of that, divided it by 6, and then allocated it over the last half of the year. And that's how you get to these basically monthly payments of the $300 per month and the $250 per month, depending on the age of the child. So you can look at it by monthly payment or by aggregate, what you'll get when you file the tax return at the end of the year or in 2022, noting that when you file the tax return, you're going to have to calculate the credit and then subtract the amount of the prepayments you would think that you got. And then the difference would be the net credit that you would still get, which if you maximize the payments out, the prepayments, I believe you'd still get half of it, I think, when you actually file the tax return. You'd still get part of something when you file the tax return in general. So the IRS will issue advanced child tax credit payments on these dates: July 15th, August 13th, September 15th, October 15th, November 15th, December 15th. Tax returns processed by January 28th will be reflected in the first batch of monthly payments scheduled for July 15th. Taxpayers will receive, it's not there in time for my barbecue. it's a day late for my burgers. Taxpayers will receive several letters. Taxpayers will also receive several letters related to the child tax credit. In the next few weeks, letters are going to eligible families who filed either a 2019 or 2020 federal income tax return or who used the Nonfiler tool on IRS.gov to register for an economic impact payment. The letters will confirm their eligibility, the amount of payment they'll receive, and that the payment began July 15th. Families who received these letters did not need to take any further action. The personalized letters follow up on the advanced child tax credit outreach letter, there's a link to that here, sent in early and mid-June to every family who appeared to qualify for the advance payment. So you might have already gotten that letter. So Child Tax Credit 2021, the IRS has created a special Advanced Child Tax Credit 2021 page. So it's kind of complicated. They're doing a lot of stuff to it. This is their thing. This is the thing that the IRS is into right now. So they got their own page that they're updating. There's a link to that here. It's designed to provide the most up-to-date information about the credit and the advance payment. Among other things, it provides direct links to the Child Tax Credit Update portal, as well as 2 other online tools, the Nonfiler sign-up tool and the Child Tax Credit Eligibility Assistant, a set of frequently asked questions and other useful resources. The Child Tax Credit changes. What did they do to it? The American Rescue Plan raised the maximum child tax credit for 2021 to $3,600 for children under age 6 and $3,000 for children ages 6 through 17. So they increased the amount. So if you didn't get any advance payment and you filed it in 2022, instead of $2,000, I believe it was before, you'd get the $3,600 for children under 6 and then the $3,000 from 6 to 17. Before 2021, it was up to $2,000 per eligible child. The new maximum credit is available to taxpayers with a modified adjusted gross income of $75,000 or less. So there is this income phase out, $75,000 or less for single, $112,500 or less for head of household, $150,000 or less for married couples filing a joint return and qualified widows and widowers. For most people, modified AGI is the amount shown on line 11 of their 2020 Form 1040 or 1040R. Above these income thresholds, the extra amount above the original $2,000 credit, either $1,000 or $1,600 per child, is reduced by $50 for every $1,000 in modified AGI. So in other words, it starts to phase out in a complicated way after you go above those amounts. In addition, the credit is fully refundable for 2021. So if you have a tax liability, it goes basically below zero, so you still get the money even if you don't have the tax liability there. This means that eligible families can get it even if they owe no federal income tax. Before this year, the refundable portion was limited to $1,400 per child, so that's a huge difference. For the most up-to-date information on the child tax credit and advance payments, visit Advanced Child Tax Credit Payment in 2021. So notice these are the changes, just so you note here, to the total, like the total payment that they made refundable. And then the advance payment, I believe they basically cut that in half. They took half of it. Let's pull out the trusty calculator just to check it out. Trusty calculator. So if we had one child that was under 6 and you were not to have got any advance payments, you would get $3,600, I believe, when you filed the tax return in 2022, but you're going to get advance payments, which I think you get 6 of them. So the IRS is going to take that and say, well, let's just divide that by 2, and that'll give us $1,800, and then we're going to divide that over 6 months, and that'll give us $900. That doesn't seem right. Let's do it again. 3600 divided by 2 is going to be 18 divided by 6 is going to be 300. So that's going to give us the 300. That's where they come up with that 300 monthly. And then if you got that 300 again for 6 months, then you get the 1,008. And then when you file the tax return, you'd think you'd get the other half, which would still be that 36 minus the 3600, which would be, you'd still get that 1,800 when you file the tax return, which is less than the 2,000 last year because you got the prepayments. But still, you would think you'd get a credit at the end. I think that's how it works. That's my interpretation at this time for what it is worth.